Now, I know I said that I was not going to continue making videos about the whole Tulsi controversy from the other day. But that was before I found out she would be going on the Jimmy Dore show yesterday. Okay? So I'm kind of going to have to get back into it, but I'm not going to focus on necessarily just what happened the other day. We're going to have to focus on that a little bit, but I want to focus on what happened when she won the Jimmy Dore program. So first off, I want to start before we watch or listen to a clip, rather. I'm not going to put his video clip. I'm going to put a link to Jimmy Dore's full interview. You can watch the video down in my description. But I'm going to have some audio from a clip. We're going to listen to it, okay? About what she's had to say about all of this. But going into this, I've lost subscribers, which I said, if you got a problem with the fact that I'm going to be critical of Tulsi Gabbard because of the things she said about Joe Biden, and you just can't bear to listen to it, hey, sorry, but do what you got to do. I did what I had to do, so you do what you got to do, okay? I'm not going to kiss anyone's ass on this channel when they're just completely full of shit. And that doesn't matter who they are or how much I like them at one point in time. I'm just not going to do it, okay? But that being said, there are a lot of people who rake me over the coals, man. I've just betrayed Tulsi Gabbard and her movement. I never really thought much of it in the first place. Oh, no, sir. I was just a defeatist. I was a defeatist. And she never said she was endorsing Joe Biden. I got something for you. She never said she was endorsing Joe Biden at all. No. And that she was not asking her people to vote for Joe Biden. Okay, well, let's hear what Tulsi Gabbard has to say about all this.
Listen, I wanted to ask you, so you were very public about taking this all the way to the convention. So tell us about your thought process when you dropped out.
Yeah, look, there's some unprecedented things happening right now. And as always, I'm constantly both within that campaign, outside of the campaign. I'm always trying to see how and where I can make the most impact, where I can best be of service, how I can best continue to fight for the things that I've been fighting for so long. And given this coronavirus pandemic, given the state of the race and kind of where things were at, especially after Tuesday's elections, seeing some of the states delaying their elections, just looking at the landscape and taking a very practical view on how and where my focus could best serve the people of Hawaii and our country. That's what drove me to make the decision, make the announcement that I did.
So now there's a lot of talk about your decision to support Joe Biden. Now, some people are saying you didn't endorse him, you just support him. Could you tell us, is there a distinction between that, and what do you say?
Again, look, I made this decision and made the announcement with a very clear view on where we are and what Democratic primary voters have decided about who the Democratic nominee will be to take on Trump in November. There are a lot of problems with this whole process. You and I have talked about this a number of times, but I'm a realist and very pragmatic about where we are and where we must go forward and how I can continue to best push these issues that I have focused on to the forefront, push this foreign policy, this 21st century foreign policy change to the forefront. And I'm supporting Joe Biden to do that over Donald Trump. This is the choice that's before voters as we head towards the elections in November.
So is there a distinction between support and endorse, or no?
Not really.
Okay. So now, a lot of people are big controversy because you're such a strong anti-war voice, and then you endorse or support Joe Biden. And he voted for George W. Bush's Iraq War. He supported regime change in Libya. He still supports regime change in Syria. Joe Biden today is against troop withdrawal in Iraq and Syria. I mean, so how can you square that circle? How could, if your message was one thing, endorse a guy who's diametrically opposed? How does that happen?
Like I said in my message, I don't agree with Joe Biden on every issue. I'm looking forward, continuing to see how I can best influence our nation's policies to do exactly what I've set out to do. Given the choices that are before us, I have thrown my support behind Joe Biden versus Trump.
And
which is something I've always said I would do, by the way, that I would support the eventual Democratic nominee, given the situation that exists, and continue to use my platform and whatever I am able to use to actually work to bring about this change.
So, but yeah, so you always, okay, but there's no evidence that we're going to be able to influence Joe Biden, right?
The task before us is great. We've always known this, that when we look at the foreign policy establishment in Washington, the obstacles are serious, but I'm not willing to throw in the towel and walk away and give up the fight. I'm continuing this mission, and I hope that everyone who has come and joined our campaign and who has stood with me in belief in this message and this leadership will continue to stand with me in working to do this.
So other people have asked, why didn't you criticize Joe Biden more in the campaign? And especially since he would be the guy most emblematic of these wars, because he, got us into them and he's always for them and voted for the Iraq war. So people were wondering why you didn't criticize him more during the campaign.
I think if you look throughout my campaign, I really wasn't focused on criticizing one or another candidate, as in multiple interviews, and people ask similar questions. Well, what about this person? What about that person? My focus has always been on my candidacy, what I'm offering to the American people, the kind of leadership and experience that I bring, and pointing out problems with the political infrastructure, the political powerful elite in Washington, and the systemic change that we need to bring about.
Yeah, but I agree with all your goals and all this stuff, and it just seems like, aren't you worried that it completely dilutes your message to, like, what I know you signed that pledge, and so you have, but you always buck the system, you always go against, and so it just seems like it could have been a bigger statement had you said, I'm not endorsing Joe Biden because this is crazy. This guy's a warmongering maniac. Plus, he's obviously in mental decline. This is the corporate party just killing itself, right? The Democratic Party is revealing and it's unable to even put... He's a worse candidate than Hillary Clinton. He has no chance to beat Donald Trump. And so, I don't know, wasn't this a time to maybe make even a bigger stand? What do you say?
I am very clear-eyed about the political landscape that's before us. And as I have always and will always do, I'll make my decisions about how I feel I can best make that positive impact, how I can best work to bring about the kind of change that I've committed my life to doing. And
there you have it. Straight from Tulsi Gabbard's own mouth. Following things. She thinks that dropping out and endorsing Joe Biden was the best thing to do. Okay. Taking all of her policy and setting it aside because she says she doesn't agree with Joe Biden on everything. I'm hard pressed to find very many things where they do agree when you listen to what he has said and you listen to what she has said. Doesn't really seem like they really line up on very much at all at the end of the day. But the things that I want particular people out there who've tried to rake me over the coals as being a turncoat, okay. One of the arguments that was certainly being made toward me, among saying that I was being irrational, by the way, that I was being completely irrational, going over the top, just letting my emotions get the best of me. No, people. You need to understand one thing. I'm one of those people that, yes, can get excited in conversation. My voice can raise. Seems like I'm letting emotions get the best of me. But at the end of the day, even if there is a brief moment where they get the best of me, at some point, my mind will take over. The emotion thing usually doesn't last for very long. And I promise you it wouldn't be lasting this long. My emotions do not have the best of me. Yes, I'm pissed, but I'm not just thinking through my rage. I'm looking at what's going on, and I see red flags that, unfortunately, a lot of people out there were just ignoring because, let's just be honest, I'm going to say it, you're in denial about what has happened here. It's no other way to put it. You're in a state of denial if you think that this was just some slight, friendly gesture and her honoring a pledge and nothing more. You're in denial. So, one thing that was said when I was called irrational was that, first of all, she only said she was supporting Joe Biden. But she never said she was endorsing him. And what'd you just say right there when Jimmy asked her, is there a difference? No, not really. So yeah, let me say this real clear. She's endorsing Joe Biden. So we can put that to bed now. All that wishy-washy. She never said she's endorsing him, just supporting him. She's endorsing him. Straight from her own mouth. There's no difference. Okay? Furthermore than that, what else did some of you try to tell me out there? She said she was supporting Joe Biden. But she didn't. That doesn't mean she's calling for all of her voters to go vote for Joe Biden. Well, wait a minute. Let's examine that. Right toward the end, I want you to pay attention to the language once again. Okay? Jimmy is pressing her on why she's done what she's done. And then he says, yeah, but there's really no evidence that you're going to be able to, sway Joe Biden or change his opinion on something one way or the other. Which is what, of course, now I know the people that are out there, that have been raking me over the coals, really trying to defend Tulsi are going to say, but see, she's got an honorable cause. She's trying to at least change Joe Biden. Sure, people, okay, wow, great. She's trying to change Joe Biden. Unless she gets a few $1 billion, it ain't happening. Unless she has enough money to outbuy Joe Biden from the military-industrial complex, Big Pharma, and Wall Street, it ain't happening. Because I can promise you, Joe Biden could give a shit about Aloha. What he cares about are the Benjamins, baby, and that's it. So unless she gets an awful lot of that, it ain't happening. She can make him all the truffles in the world she wants to. That man ain't going to change his mind about not one damn thing that his donors want. So it's a pipe dream. But nonetheless, far as she calling for you to not vote for him, Jimmy pressed her and said, yeah, there's no evidence you're going to sway Joe Biden, right? She's like, well, we've always known the task before us was great. Blah, 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 wah, wah, wah. But I'm calling on all of my supporters to continue to stand by me through this. Now, maybe you interpret that a different way, but here's how I interpret that statement. You've been with me this entire time. I now endorse and support Joe Biden. And I'm going to try to sway Joe Biden. Maybe we can get him to stop a teeny little conflict because, hey, just like that guy on Twitter said, crumbs is better than nothing, right? So you've been with me. This is the direction I'm taking. So I hope you will continue to stand with me and support me in supporting Joe Biden. That's what I took from that statement. Now, if you got something different, by all means, that's your opinion. You know what they say about them. I mean, so maybe you don't see it that way, but that's the way I see this. That's the way I see those exact remarks, and that's what I take them to mean. But I want to say one thing. For all the people out there, I'm going to be a bit of a smart ass for just a moment. I really am. I really, really, really am. Because some of you out there have really pushed my buttons the last couple of days with some of the things that you've, called me in Twitter messages, some of the things that you've had to say about me in the comments section, some of the things you're trying to say that I'm just ignorant because of X, Y, and Z, that she didn't really kiss Joe Biden's ass, that she didn't go out of her way, and that she's not calling for anyone to vote for Joe Biden. She never endorsed Joe Biden. I've got something that I would like to give to you folks out there. Okay? Now, the first item on this list, because let me be perfectly clear here, okay? What you all have right now is one of your feet stuck in your mouth. And it's not easy to break something like that loose, okay? When a foot gets in your mouth that bad, you got to get it out, because if you don't, it's really going to cause a lot of damage, okay? So the first thing that you might want to try for breaking it loose is a can of some WD-40. Maybe slick it up a little bit. Maybe that'll break it loose. In the event WD-40 does not do the trick for you, then you might want to try what we people who work on car use for certain things, and that would be white lithium grease. Now, it's very gooey. It's going to make a mess, but hey, it's got plenty of slick to it, so it just might help you get it out, okay? So, white lithium grease if WD-40 doesn't work, okay? But in the event, folks, that white lithium grease just doesn't quite do the job for you, then maybe you want to try some Valvoline automotive and industrial general multi-purpose grease. And for those of you who don't exactly know what that is, let you see on the camera, that is a nice thick can of some good old black gooey automotive grease. Now, let me just give you the forewarning if you choose to use that product. It is very thick. It is very gooey. It'll make a black, greasy mess. But, buddy, will she slick that foot up and you can finally pry it right out of your big mouths. Also, one other little interesting thing that I'm sure... See, I don't know that lithium grease would be quite good enough for this job in particular. But I'd be willing to bet you it might not be the conventional thing you want to use. Maybe a lot of water-based lube would be more ideal for you. But this right here, like I said, messy, but man, she'll slick it up. It will be perfect for all of you any blue will do people. Shine it up real nice so they don't rip your ass open when they violate you again. It'll work wonders for you. Here's the thing, people. I said it before. I'm not the Tulsi Gabbard Network. When she did this, I was not going to turn a blind eye to it and just see what I wanted to see from it. Oh, if I wanted to see what all you people, I want this to be different, but I'm not going to try to create false realities around it and tell you all that it's different just because I'm that heartbroken that I saw what I saw. Oh no, she didn't do it to us. She couldn't have. No, it's a reality, people. Understand this. Sometimes your heroes will let you down, and that's what's happened here. Sorry, but it happened, and we're all faced to deal with it now. And I've noticed even some of the people who've been trying to quasi-defend her through this, after that interview, they've changed their minds as well. Now, one other thing she went on to say later in the video, and I'm going to say this and then wrap this up. One other thing she went on to say later is that Jimmy asked her, had she reached out to the Bernie Sanders campaign at all? She said yes, but she would not reveal what conversations took place. She said she would keep it between her and Bernie. Now, some people are going to look at that two different ways. Okay, the first way they're going to look at it is that, of course, the rumor floating around that she tried to endorse Bernie and he rejected her is true. There's also, and keep in mind, people, I'm not saying this is true, but this will be an attack used because she would not say what went on in the conversation. Now, I know the defenders of Tulsi are going to say that's because she doesn't want to attack Bernie and make him seem bad and blah, 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 blah. But what have I been saying this entire time? Everything going on right now will be used to smear Tulsi Gabbard if she runs in the future. The same way people like myself have bashed Bernie with a club for seeming to kiss Clinton's ass, the people that are bashing Tulsi already will only bash her harder, and they have the fuel to do it with. Meaning that if she runs again, this will be used. And what it's going to sound like to the skeptics out there is, yeah, I'm going to say I spoke to Bernie Sanders and kind of quasi-use that he wouldn't take my endorsement as an excuse. But in actuality, I've been planning this the entire time because I've never even criticized Joe Biden this entire time. Notice she didn't really give a straight answer, just tried to say, well, I didn't really criticize anybody. Well, you criticized Clinton. You criticized Kamala Harris pretty good, okay? You criticized Tim Ryan a little bit, but no Joe Biden. So the skeptics are going to take that and say, yeah, she's been playing this the entire time. How do I know that? Because a few are already saying it. So they're going to use that right there as proof. Oh, so she talked to Bernie, huh? How come she can't tell us what was said in the conversation? Again, whether it's true or not doesn't really matter. They're going to make it seem that way. And as we say a lot down here, you know, and at a job that I've worked at before, perception is reality. Okay? Whether it's actually true, if they can make people perceive it's true, they're going to believe it's true. And if she doesn't have anything to prove to the contrary, it's going to be awful hard to overcome that smear attack and that narrative. Because this is far more believable than the whole Russia, Syria, Assad apologist, Putin ass kisser. No, see, that didn't really stick too well. A lot of people saw through the smoke on that one. But Joe Biden ass kisser, now that's going to stick. That's going to stick. Why? Because all they got to do is play her own crap. They got to let her speak and play clips of her, and it's going to come straight out of her mouth. And all these other progressives that were bashing her in the first place on YouTube, they got just what they need to tear her down. So, once again, for all of you who tried to, berate me for just simply stating the facts about what's took place here, try one of these 3 lovely products. For everyone else, if you've been noticing my t-shirt, okay, this is obviously a WWE t-shirt, WWE wrestler Braun Strowman and his catchphrase, get these hands. But considering that Joe Biden is now the, presumed Democratic nominee, Tulsi Gabbard has now endorsed Joe Biden. Remember, no difference between support and endorse. And it's only a matter of time before Bernie does the same thing. So Joe Biden's going into November. Hey, all those Joe Biden voters out there, hey, good old Grabby Joe, get these hands, because Joe Biden sure is a grabby son of a bitch. So, hey, Handsy Joe, get these hands, man. Joe Biden 2020, right? What a fucking joke.